Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Salim.
Walaikum assalam.
How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm fine. How about you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good too. Okay, so there's a topic which I feel that many of people in our society are a victim of it, especially the women in our Muslim society. So when a girl grows up into adulthood, she's turning into a woman, the first thing that her mother tells her is cover yourself. And the reason which is being told is very beautiful when we hear it at first, that you're precious, you're like a diamond, you're a jewel, and if you go outside, then unworthy eyes will see you. Trust me, it is very beautiful. But then when you grow up, eventually you see that you are the only diamond who is doing the covering, and that's it. I mean, if anyone approaches you, if anyone harasses you, you're being told that you're supposed to cover yourself. Now that you have not covered yourself, people are going to try to steal from you because you're a jewel, and they're attracted towards you. But my question here is that we are human beings, man and woman. Should we not be seen in this way? I mean, if a man is attracted towards a woman and she's to cover herself and dress modestly, are we not attracted towards men? Should they not feel themselves like jewels and diamonds and cover themselves modestly, or is it just something falling on women?
Well, very interesting thing that you have raised. You see, what has happened is that a lot of things that we do is because of the culture that we are living in. So the culture actually, it compresses us, it leads us to things which our parents, they have been following for many generations, and they would not like their children to deviate from that. So first of all, we have to understand that what exactly is the stance of Islam on covering, and is it because girls or women, they become precious that they are told to cover, or is there some other reason for that? So if you look at the Quran, the thing that stands out is so beautiful, I think, that is so attractive and something so appealing that one really thinks that the reason which the Quran has stated is so universal and it's so, I would say, all-embracing, that it is that reason that we have to stick to. So when it talks about Muslim women covering themselves, it says, ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُنَّ, which means that this is more pure for them. It's their own personal purity which the Quran talks about. At not a single place does it say that this covering is because men are attracted to women. This is something which I don't know how people have made up. Yes, that attraction is natural, but the reason for covering up is not because men are attracted to women or vice versa. So if you look at the Quran, as I said, the reason is that inner purity. You see, the objective of religion is to purify ourselves. And that purity is something which is the hallmark of Islam. It gives us this objective that whatever you do must always be steeped in purity. And it's not just hijab, it's not just covering up, it's like a general objective that covers all directives of religion. And the second thing I would also like to submit here is that also we need to understand that what exactly is the meaning of covering yourself. Because you see, if you look at the Quran, you'll find that basically it is Surah Nur which tells us regarding regarding whatever a woman has to wear maybe, or how she has to be dressed up. So if you view this surah, you'll find that what it says is that if women have made up their hair, if they have embellished their hair, your head covering, which is normally tantamount or equivalent to hijab, needs to be worn. Otherwise, if you've not made up your hair, you've simply combed your hair and it's like in a normal hairstyle, then head covering or covering your hair is not an obligation at all. It might be a recommendation still, but it's not an obligation. So because of the fact that there are people who think that head covering or wearing the scarf is an obligation for all times, it is because of this that the term of hijab has come into, it has been coined, I would say. Otherwise, if you look at the Quran, never at a single place has the word hijab been used in the Quran in this sense. There's just one or two instances in which the word hijab occurs in the Quran, and that too in the meaning of a curtain. It never has ever been used in the Quran to convey the fact that women need to cover themselves. So I would say that first of all, we have to set right the reasoning. Because you see, if you don't set right the reasoning of an endeavor, then you end up making wrong justifications or wrong reasoning. And that wrong reasoning either is challenged by your own nature or by common sense. So I think you have made absolutely the right remark by saying that if this is the reason of covering up yourselves, then well, men need to cover up themselves as well, because this is a mutual attraction. And secondly, also, you would see that as far as attraction is concerned, regarding that, the Quran has given a separate, I would say, code of conduct. It has said that, well, yes, you are attracted to opposite genders. I mean, opposite genders attract one another. But for that, it's not that the Quran says that you cover yourselves up. It says that you restrain your eyes. You see, the order is not to cover the opposite gender so that the other gender is not able to stare. It is that you should exercise restraint. You should control your eyes. No, don't let it take liberty. So a number of things, I would say, have become these misconceptions that one, this covering up itself has to be understood. Two, the reason has to be understood. Three, what Islam wants, as I said, is that purity of the soul. And that purity, as it is achieved on the one hand by being modest in your clothing, and on the other hand, it is achieved by not staring at women, and men not staring at women, and women not staring at men in the way that we would not consider appropriate.
This is a very beautiful point that you just elaborated, especially to restrain your eyes. So this is, instead of putting the blame on another person, you're starting with yourself and you're taking accountability of your own actions. And this is something to be really seen. I mean, when I see this notion of hijab, of covering ourselves, it's everything except self-accountability. It is so that other person should not think this way. You have to change yourself. Instead of saying that, so that I should not make a mistake, I should restrain myself. Now, before going to the second point, you said that this thing, when you misunderstand Islam, there's a lot of misconceptions that occur in the society to support your claim. So one of them is that when we say that woman is supposed to dress herself well, woman is supposed to dress modestly, she has to cover herself. As you yourself said, that Quran talks about covering yourself with modesty for your own purification. If it is just talked about one gender, doesn't it mean, in other words, philosophically, that woman is an object of men's desire, for men's pleasure, and this is why she has to dress herself in all of it, instead of just saying that a human being, men and women are human beings, and both of them have to cover themselves and dress themselves modestly. So what is Quran's conduct? Does it target women or humanity?
So you see, you'll be surprised to know that it's just a question of reading the Quran, and you'll come up immediately with the conclusion that the Quran is addressing both men and women. And it is giving both of them two equal directives. So one of them is that you have to restrain your gaze, and the other one is that you should dress properly. Your dress should be modest. It should not be revealing. It should not be something that reveals the contours of your body. It should be a loose dress, and that is all. And these two directives are addressed equally to both men and women, and they occur side by side. Yes, women have been given one additional directive, and that is that they should not embellish themselves in a way that catches the attention. But that too, in the sense that the Quran says that only on limbs which are normally left uncovered, as your face or your hand and your feet. If you wear anything on your face or your hand or your feet, which is normally makeup or jewelry, then it's not, the Quran says that you can leave it uncovered. Only places which are besides these three limbs need to be covered if they have been made up. And as I just said, that if you made up your hair, for example, that is one area of you, or wearing a necklace or something like that around your neck, that is another area. So other than that, as far as your face is concerned or your hands and feet are concerned, if reasonable adornments, of course, they are perfectly allowed. And it is not by not understanding that it is basically Surah Nur which is giving us these directives. And if you look at the nature of these directives, a better, I would say, expression to explain them would be they are social norms, or they are social etiquette of interaction between men and women, or norms of gender interaction, to be more precise. And these norms are, they are like a code of conduct. So the confusion has arisen because in Surah Ahzab, there have been certain directives given to the Prophet, of course, and to the wives of the believers of those times to circumvent the activities of the hypocrites. And they are a separate class of directives, and people have mixed them up and have made them an appendix, I would say, or have made them a part of the hijab directives or the social norm directives. I think that is a separate discussion we can do sometime, that Surah Ahzab has a very specific context. It is a surah in which the hypocrites, they were going full throttle. They wanted to bring the Prophet down, and they were actually realizing the fact that they were not being able to curb the expansion of the Muslim forces. And so they decided that there's one way that they could maybe check this impetus that they have received, and that is to in a way scandalize the personal life of the Prophet and his wives. So this scandalous behavior was actually discussed in Surah Ahzab, and women were told, especially not just the women, the wives of the Prophet were told that they should stick to their homes, not speak to strangers in a way. And so people started to generalize them, and they thought that, well, women of the household of the Prophet, they should be our ideals and we should follow them. And hence, all those misconceptions have crept in. So I think it's a question of understanding Surah Ahzab separately. It has a very specific, I would say, background and understanding. And Surah Nur, which is more general and relates to those general directives.
Okay, thank you so much. This really explains a lot. And the thing that you said, that people say that you have to idealize the wives of the Holy Prophet and dress like them. There are some scholars who also say that, well, there is fitna, there is problem as well in corruption in this society. So to be safe from those male gaze, to be safe from objectification, you should cover yourself, and now it is also implied on you. But the problem here is that I feel that for a woman, she suffers objectification, this male gaze and everything throughout her life, whether she covers herself or not. And this is something about personal safety. I mean, if a woman feels that if I go here and maybe she's got her hair done in such a way that she feels that this is a bit an area, if I go it will be considered awkward or dangerous for my own safety, it should be her personal choice, instead of someone else telling that because it was said in that context and the context may or may not resemble, so now you have to do this. Now, my second question in this regard is that in this ordeal of covering a woman who are being made responsible, obviously the messengers, the carriers are their mothers, their elder sisters. But if a woman does not cover her hair or does not cover her face according to the family norms or the societal norms, their brothers, their fathers, they become extremists, they retaliate. There is a lot of violence, sometimes mental, sometimes verbal, and sometimes physical. And it also leads in the form of honor killing. And we see this very Victorian mindset that the men, they seek their gratification, their honor from the purity of women. Now, when we talk about this thing, and try to communicate it in our houses, that you cannot do this is our wish, our free will which Allah has given us. So they tell us that our Prophet has said that every woman will take 3 men with her into the hell. But when we look at the Holy Quran, it tells us that like ikraha fid din, there is no compulsion of forcing somebody in religion. And it also tells man amila salihan fali nafsi, whatever you do, good or bad, that is for you. So are men responsible for the deeds of the women, or is it more of a personal choice?
So once again, we have to look for the cause in our external environment. And if you study history, anthropology, and if you are able to understand that how things have been working ever since centuries, one thing is indisputable, and that is that we are living in a patriarchal society ever since, centuries. And this patriarchy has accounted for a number of oppressions against women, violence against women, dominance over women, not allowing them to have the right to live the way they would like to live. Even philosophers, very, very distinguished philosophers, if I narrate to you how they view women and have been viewing women, you'll be aghast How come people who are philosophers, they have the same view? So this, you see, it's more cultural. It's more the perception that people have because of various reasons. Islam, on the other hand, has given no such perception. I mean, as you have said, every person is responsible for his or her own fate and hereafter. Yes, if you have a suggestion to give, you are free to give a suggestion, you are free to give advice, but you don't have the right to force anyone. And this policing, I would say, is something that has accounted for what you have just said. It has become as heinous as honor killings. It goes as far as that. They don't think that a boy or a girl has the right to choose a partner. And it ends up that their own family members, they become their worst enemies. So I would say that Islam is absolutely free of this stigma. It is more of patriarchy. It is more of certain misinterpretations of religious directives. Otherwise, religion gives this choice to every woman to pursue a career, to live a life as she wants to. Even if, for example, if I'm a parent, if my daughter is doing something that I would never condone, even then, as a father, I have to support her. As a father, I must always stand behind her. And I must always tell her that I'll always be there for you, in spite of the fact that I might not agree with X, Y, Z, whatever you do. And it could be as grave as anything. I think, I don't remember if I gave you this example or not. I once was confronted with a friend who said that his daughter plans to marry a girl. She's a lesbian, and so therefore he said that I would not like to attend the marriage of my daughter. And whatever, I mean, of course, this is not in Pakistan, it was in the US. So I would just disown my daughter. I don't think that I can tolerate this stigma, and what will the family say? And I said, yes, of course, I would be very concerned if I were a parent like you and in your position. It would be very, very difficult. But you see, you have to understand, this is a choice which God has given every human being. And that for that choice, the person is responsible. And you know what? We need to learn from God. Look at His graciousness. He has given mankind the leverage, the respite to do anything in this world, and then He's going to hold them accountable. We have sects which do devil worship. We have all sorts of people doing all sorts of, I would say, horrible things that we cannot even describe. But they are given this opportunity. Because you see, we have to understand that this is a place, or this world is a place in which you will be held accountable for your deeds. But this accountability is by God. It's going to take place through God. So I would think and suggest that we should take cue from our Creator, that He has given us this freedom of speech. So who am I to dictate my daughter or my son or my granddaughter? All I am going to do, or all I should do, is that I should tell them that this is what good conventions are. This is how we should behave. This is how in my opinion, the right course is, and that is all. And then let the boy or the girl or whoever you're facing whatever decision they take, you should back that decision.
So this is a very beautiful thing that you mentioned, that if Allah, being the greatest of Mu'allim, the greatest of teachers, saying to you that Inna hadaynahu sabil, I have showed you the way, imma shakira wa imma kafura. It's up to you. You be grateful, you accept it, or you go against it. It's in the day of judgment that I'm going to hold you accountable for it. And the second point that you talked about, that when you merge cultural etiquettes with religious etiquettes, it forms hideous problems and mutations. So it was really a relief for me to know that Islam views people as human beings, not as brands, not as two separate genders, but as human beings. Thank you so much.